Evening, everyone, and welcome to our first meeting for this program and for the IGZ 802 and 804 modules. My name is Chijioke Okori, and I am the program coordinator for the LLM IP Law program. And I'm also the module coordinator for these two modules that I just mentioned their name. I will put on my camera briefly so that you can see who is speaking to you, and then I will put it off and we can continue. Okay. So the point of, or the reason why we have our first meeting and we don't use that meeting to have lectures or conversation is because, or to just have lectures, is because the first meeting is just for us to get to meet each other, share the plans and the aspirations and the hopes and intention for the program, and so that I can better understand where each person is coming from and what they hope to achieve with the program and with the modules themselves. I think that these first meetings are helpful to also from your own side to understand what my expectations are of you as students in this module so that we can work better together. So if you look at the chat box, you will see that I've put the link that I had already put on ClickUp so that if you have not introduced yourself, you will do so. The slides on that link are also the slides that will guide this meeting. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. I hope that everyone can see the slides and not something else. Yes, you can give me a thumbs up. You don't need to talk if you don't want to, at least at this time. If you can see the slides, thumbs up. Okay, thank you very much. So it's our first meeting, and our agenda for today is to have the welcome and introductions, which I have done. I've introduced myself, and I shared this ahead of time just so that people can introduce themselves, say why they joined the program, say what they need help with, and just so that I can, like I said, understand what issues you may have or where you need help, and so that I can do my best to respond to that. The point of this box here is for you to put your photo so that we can know who is introducing themselves. So whilst I'm talking, you can do that and put your picture so that we can put a face to the names. If you're not able to do so, please do so after. It will help me a lot. So please, let's all do that. I have made provisions, you will see, for different for each person to put their names and all that. So I will take a look after and just better understand everyone's where they come from. So if you look at the ClickUp page, you will see that I've put the you'll see that I've put the study guide for the IGZ802 and IGZ804 modules. And I've done that so that you can appreciate what each module will cover and what the learning objectives are. So I'm not really going to reiterate those aspects. But the big picture for us in this module or in this program is intellectual property. So we're looking at intellectual property from different angles. You will also see that I've provided a series of short videos that I use. I use that video usually for my undergraduate students that are taking intellectual property for the first time. But I find that it's a very good crash course for those of you that are coming into intellectual property as a field of study for the first time and need some sort of way or something that helps them appreciate the subject matter very well. So in terms of the big picture, I want to always start by emphasizing that this program works in a specific way. The way that it works is that you have two modules that are taken or offered in the first semester, and that's the 802, which focuses on innovation and emerging technologies, intellectual property. And we studied that topic from the perspective of two key intellectual property rights, patents and designs. Sometimes, and most times, we have the time and space to also consider other intellectual property rights that are tied to innovation and emerging technologies. For example, traditional knowledge and indigenous knowledge. They are actually the same thing. So those two modules are out. So that module is offered in the first semester. The other module that is also offered in the first semester for the LLM IP Law program is the IGZ804. And that's the one that deals with still intellectual property, but creative expressions and expression of ideas. So basically, we study intellectual property from the perspective of copyright, from the perspective of the creative industries, which is where copyright as an intellectual property right plays a key role. So you would also see from the study guide that I have indicated in bullet points some of the topics that we will cover in each of those modules. I'd like to also present the big picture, which is that okay, before I go to the big picture, in the second semester alone, we offer the IGZ803, which is related to branding, advertising, basically intellectual property, which we are now studying from the perspective of branding and advertising. And the focus, the IP right that we focus on in that module is trademarks. Sometimes, if we have the time and space, we also deal with geographical indications, because geographical indications are like sisters or cousins, at least to trademarks. You will find that in some jurisdictions where they don't have a specific system for protecting geographical indications, that what they do is that they instead just provide for trademarks and protect geographical indications through the trademark system. So there's that. Now, in this program as well, you have the dissertation proposal as a separate module, and then you have the dissertation itself as a separate module. So the expectation is that you would find space within the program to take these modules, because they are compulsory to your getting your master's degree at the end of the program. Now, the dissertation proposal and the dissertation itself, usually you can take them when it's offered from the postgraduate admission perspective. When it's available for you to take, you take them, whether it's in the first semester or in the second semester, it's up to you. But the coursework modules, the IGZ802, 803, 804, there are specific semesters that we take them. Now, even though the university offers you the possibility of finishing this program in 1 year, my experience teaching this and running this program for the past 5 years now, my experience has been that I have not seen a student who has successfully finish this program in 1 year. The reason is because many, if not all of our students are working, or even if they are not working, they find a job or a place for their articles or pupillage, as the case may be, in the course of the program. And that stops them from being able to, tackle the program with the rigor and, that it demands. So I usually advise students at this first meeting to consider taking one module per semester. So in the first semester of your first year, you take IGZ802 or IGZ804. In the second semester, there's no choice. There's only IGZ803 that is offered. You take IGZ803. And while you're taking IGZ803, you would have built enough knowledge of at least 2 key IP rights, copyright and trademarks. And that should give you an idea in terms of deciding, okay, I'm going to write my dissertation in the field of copyright or in the field of trademarks, or even to say, okay, in the fields of patents and designs, or something related to that. So that whether, depending on how your life is working at the time, you can then say, okay, in the second semester, I will just focus on IGZ803 and writing my dissertation proposal and bringing it up to speed. So if you're able to do that, that then means that in your year 2, you will now have just IGZ802 or 804, one of them, depending on the one you choose in your first year, to now offer the remaining first semester module. And then as you're offering that, you are spending, time drafting something, scribbling something relating to your dissertation. You start working on your dissertation, basically. That way, by the time it's July 31st, and please, you confirm from student admin, it's either June 30th or July 31st. That's the time that you're required. If you're going to submit your dissertation itself, you're required to submit what we call a notice of intention to submit. Now, most supervisors across the law faculty expect that you have a first full draft by that date, so that they can confidently and comfortably say that in 3 months' time, by October 31st, this person will be able to actually submit their dissertation to the faculty for examination. The fact that you have submitted your full dissertation to your supervisor does not mean that you have submitted your dissertation for examination. It is when your supervisor has said, this dissertation is ready to be examined, it's complete, it's in appropriate order, it's ready to be examined, then there's another form to be signed, and you complete the form, your supervisor signs the form, and then with that form and your dissertation, you then submit to the postgraduate student admin folks. You submit to them, and then they confirm, oh, this dissertation has now been submitted for examination. So when you think about all this work that is required in terms of this program, you would see, I hope, that it's not really something that you can reasonably finish in 1 year. Most people are working and they have families, or they have family responsibilities, and so on and so forth. It's not, I haven't seen where it's easy to combine all these things and finish in 1 year. 18 months I've seen, but 1 year I have not seen. I did my master's, I did my LLM in the UK. There, the program is like similar to UP, where it's offered. It's actually not offered for 1 year. It's actually offered for either 18 months or 2 years. That's the practice. And the reason for that is usually so that in your second year, you have just one module that you are focusing on, which then gives you time in the year to write a proper dissertation that can pass muster and submit your dissertation and be successful in the program. You also don't want a situation where you've taken on so much and you are not able to give the each module the attention that it deserves, and you end up failing one or the other, which still brings you back into the 2-year journey that you were trying to avoid in the first place. But it's a strong encouragement to take one module per semester. You're still well within your rights to say, well, I'm going to prove everybody wrong and do this thing in 1 year. It's still your choice to do so, and you do what you want. You do you. What next? Okay, let me pause here. Are there questions, thoughts, worries, concerns before I go to the next thing? Any questions? Yes.
Prof, I think that is a proper advice, because I'm now on my 2nd year because I took a lot, and with family it was a bit of a difficulty. So after you've spoken now, thinking that I'm in my 2nd year, I might be thinking of just taking 2 for now, push them, because I tried to force all 3. So I think that can also give me a bit of a difficulty. So I do note the advice, and it's really valid.
Thank you for that. Are there any other questions, comments, anything anybody wants to say? Yes, Ibukun.
Yes, hello, Ma.
Hi.
Yes, I'm a first year student, so this is my first meeting. I was just trying to get everything you're trying to say. So it's impossible to finish within a year. Is that
That's
what you're
what I've seen. That's what I've seen.
okay.
But I'm not God, so I cannot say what is possible and what is not possible. I'm just saying that from my experience, I've never seen anyone that is able to finish all their coursework, do their dissertation proposal, submit their dissertation for examination, and everything is, they pass all their modules, they successfully submit their dissertation all in 1 year. Because if you're going to attempt it in 1 year, what will happen is that in this first semester, so February to June, you're taking IGZ802, IGZ804, right? And you are also choosing a supervisor, writing your dissertation proposal. Also, write once hopefully your dissertation proposal is approved, maybe by April, for example, then you start writing your actual dissertation whilst you're writing exams. And then as you are doing that, the second semester starts, you're writing your dissertation, and you have to submit your dissertation by 31st of October this year in order to make it and not pay school fees next year, right? Because if you don't submit by the end of October, 31st of October, then it means that the examination process, everything will most certainly enter 2027, and you'll be required to pay fees because you're not done. You see?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma.
You're welcome. Kelechi, you raised your hand, but you're fine now, or? Yes? No? Okay. I can't hear anything from anyone else, so I'm going to continue talking. Yeah? Okay. So I wanted to talk about expectations and policies. I think I've already spoken to academic rigor and participation. You need to make your own notes during lectures. This is not the LLB program where you have slides that have a lot of text that can even form notes. It can happen sometimes, but the text that you have on my lecture slides, for example, or the lecture slides of any guest lecturer we have, is not going to cut it for you in terms of the program. You need to read extensively. It's a master's program. You're trying to master the subject matter of intellectual property. You need to study extensively. You need to develop, if you don't have it already, and you should have it because you are a law graduate. That's why you are doing the LLM program. So by now you should be very comfortable with reading lengthy text, engaging with materials critically. If you don't have those skills already and you managed to finish your LLB, you need to build it now because you are going to need it in this program. So whatever module, you have to make your own notes. The use of AI in this program is strictly prohibited. We don't do AI here in this module. It will be considered in this mod in the two mod in the program. It will be considered plagiarism unless for a specific assignment or assessment task, I indicate that you can use AI. If you're not sure, please ask me, but I'm already saying that we are not using AI in this module. We are writing from our brains, we are engaging our critical thinking faculties in this program. In the within the both the postgraduate program and even our undergraduate program here at UP, we have a student evaluation feedback. So there are two feedback sessions in a semester. There's the first one that is I always mix up formative and summative. Anyway, there's the first one that comes mid-semester, and that one is really for you to give me as the lecturer for the module, to give me feedback on how the module is going for you. So if there are things that we are doing well in, you tell me, you say, oh, this the way you're approaching this, the way you are doing this, it's working for me. I'm gaining a lot. It's a fantastic thing that is happening here. I'm excited. Please do more of this. If there's something that I'm not getting right, you also indicate and say, oh, this is not really working for me. If you have suggestions, recommendations, you also use that opportunity to say it. And the reason why it's coming at the middle of the semester is so that there can be things that I can change, at that point. I can then make those changes so that the rest of the semester will turn out well for you. The experience over the years is that students usually don't take that evaluation seriously, or they come on there and they only just say, oh, this one is wrong, that one is wrong, do this, do that. And sometimes the request that they make or that they make is not something that is feasible within the or allowed within the postgraduate program. So for example, if a student says, oh, we need you to give us notes, that's not how postgraduate programs work. Lecturers will not give notes. If they give, it's just a a very minimal, minor element of what you're supposed to study. All the coursework modules are 30 credit load each, which means you're supposed to be spending 300 hours in total for that module in terms of study, lectures, assignments, exams, and everything. So notes are not, something that I can do. However, there might be some requests that you might make that I'm able to accommodate, or I can explain why this is this way and this is what you can do to still get the benefits, of the thing. So what I've decided to do this year is that when the time for the evaluation feedback comes, they will usually send you an email to say, please complete the feedback. We'll just take the time, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes before one class, and everybody just completes it. It's anonymous. My own is just to say, click on the link that they send to you and complete it. I'm not there to look at who wrote what. My own is to see, it will come back to me as anonymous responses, and I will see the things that I can do to make sure that you are getting the best experience possible with this program. Then there's one at the end of the before exams, um, at the end of the semester, or towards the end of the semester. That one is now for you to look back on your experience and say, well, I made this request. I didn't see anything, that people are doing, that the lecturer did to address my concern. That particular feedback session is a type of way, in the sense that some students use that as opportunity to now say, because by then you will see whether you are going to pass this module or not. So maybe people use it sometimes as an opportunity to say, I did not gain anything from this module, because now they are salty about certain things in the module. But that's not the purpose of that survey or evaluation session. The purpose is for the people that are coming after. If you have anything that worked well, you should say so. If there's feedback that was given to that you gave to for the program to work better for you, that was taken on board, you should say so. If there are still areas of improvement for the next iteration of the module, you also say so. That's really the purpose. For me, it helps me to make sure that I'm on top of things and that everyone gets the best experience possible. So that's for the evaluation feedback survey. I've talked about academic rigor and participation. You need to learn from journal articles. As lawyers already, you know that we set a lot of store by case law, so reading judgments, and all those things. And if we are being honest, we know that if you take if you read a case summary, or you read the case notes that you find on some of the law reports, you are not getting the best of the judgment. You need to actually read the actual judgment itself, and then you'll be able to get the gist of what the issues for determination were, and how the court resolved those issues, and what the court relied on to resolve those issues in a particular way. But in the postgraduate program, we also put a lot of value on journal articles. And I don't mean law firm articles that are written on law firm webpage. We set zero value on those kind of articles. For us, we look at journal articles, peer-reviewed journal articles. It needs to be in a journal. It needs to be in a proper journal that is cited. It should not be a web page or a blog that somebody is writing. The only blog that we even manage to consider are academic blogs, and you would see that those blogs are written by academics. But even then, you will see that those blogs that academics write are tied to articles that they've already written, which you should be reading as a matter of fact, or to a case that they've analyzed, which again, you should be reading the cases. So it's very important that you do so that you can ensure, success in this program. Um, in the IGZ802 program, we have, or module rather, we have both. You will see from the study guide that we have both group practical based assessments, and then we have the written exams. one of the flagship assessments we have in the IGZ802 program is the Africa Law and Emerging Technologies Policy Hackathon. You would see that I've already shared the hackathon website and the information regarding the hackathon. Every one of you should read that information and start thinking about forming their group for the hackathon and start working on the hackathon. The timeline has already started. It has already started counting from today. The deadline for submission of the materials for the hackathon is I think 10th of April or so. You have to work with those deadlines. The hackathon is tied to a public event, so the deadline will not be moved. And if you are not able to meet up with the submission, you would have failed that assessment because there's no alternative to submitting the materials or the deliverables for the policy hackathon by the closing date. It's like I said, and it bears repeating, it's the hackathon is tied to a public event, so the date will not be moved. It will remain on that date so that the judges that we have for the hackathon will have the time to be able to read each person's submission, and me as well. I need to be able to read your submissions and your deliverables and be able to score you ahead of the day, the demo day where you now present, if you're called upon to present your hackathon deliverable. So everyone should start already to do what needs to be done in terms of the policy hackathon. There's also another assessment for the IGZ802 module. You would also find that on ClickUp. I will indicate the deadline as well for that, and it needs to also be completed within that deadline. Most, if not all, the assessments across these two modules, 802 and 804, they are tied to public events. So the dates are really fixed. And if you're not able to meet up with the date, you would have failed the assessment. The way that the way that I have split the assessment in this module is that in both modules, IGZ 802 and 804, is that 50% of your total marks comes from these assessments, semester assessments, and then the other 50% comes from the written exams. So you would see that if you're able to do what you need to do, because all the assessments are really practical based, which gives you a lot of wiggle room to be able to consult materials that you need to consult, to be able to really engage with the task and do it well, you will be able to score high marks. So going into the exam, you're already close to passing the module. You need a 50 to pass. So it shouldn't be the case that you are walking into the exam hall with 10 out of a possible 50, because it's not likely that you're going to get 40 over 50 in the exam. So that's for IGZ 802. For IGZ 804, there are also a series of assessment tasks. The way that those assessment tasks are built, I have designed them in a way to make you really think about copyright, make you really think about copyright in different settings, whether it's copyright reform, whether it's judicial approaches to deciding copyright issues, whether it's copyright in the tech environment, in this case, artificial intelligence environment. You are expected to, I'm expecting that you use the opportunity of the assessment to really hone your skills in identifying, that this is a copyright material, this is not, this is why this is a copyright material, this is why this is not a copyright material. Copyright limitations and exceptions apply here or they don't apply, things like that. This is why the court decided this matter the way that it did, and so on and so forth. The first task in IGZ 804 is very, 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 very time-based. Everyone must make their submission by the 25th of this month. The reason why the time is tight like that is because this assessment requires you to make some engagement with the materials or the articles that have been assigned to you, but you are looking at those articles for specific things, and we need everyone to submit theirs because that's your submissions will be going to another LLM, not LLM, another master's program in the university where they will be applying the your submissions in a different environment, in the tech environment, and we will see the outcome of that engagement. I think it's really something beautiful if we do it right, and you will really learn a lot from it. I want to give an example because of the timing of that of this first assignment for the IGZ804 module. In the IGZ804 module, for the first assignment, each person is going to get between 15 and 20 articles, references or citations to 15 articles. What you're expected to do is to take each article and look for copyright elements that have already been designated in a specific form. I'm going to give you an example just so you can run with it. Thankfully, this our meeting is recorded, so you can come back to this over and over again to get the hang of whatever you've missed. And you're also welcome to send me an email and ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer. So if you get your article, this is one of the articles, right? And you see this article is not a lot of articles. It's just 6 pages, right? That's how articles and stuff that is written in the sciences usually can be. And you see that only 4 pages thereabout is the article itself. So what I did was I took the title of the reference, right? And I put it on Google Scholar, right? We can see it. Thumbs up if you can see it. Does it mean nobody is seeing what I'm showing? Okay, thank you. So I put it here, and then I see the article. Then, by the way, this is if you are citing article, it needs to be something that I can find on Google Scholar, and you can find blogs and web pages on Google Scholar. So that's sort of like your guide as to what materials that we value in the LLM program. So you go to the article, right? When you get to the article, you will see, even from the abstract, so you start with the abstract, right? You will see that for this abstract, it tells us that this particular project that these authors worked on is pre-trained transformers are now the de facto models in natural language processing, given their state-of-the-art results in many tasks and languages. However, most of the current models have been trained on languages for which large text resources are already available. Blah, 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 blah. This is your focus. In this paper, we studied the Algerian dialect, which has several specificities that make the use of Arabic and multilingual models inappropriate. To address this issue, this is what they did. So you are interested in what they did, actually. That's our focus, right? They collected more than 1 million Algerian tweets and pre-trained the first Algerian language model, IGZ802. When compared with existing models, this thing they did achieves better results, especially when dealing with Roman scripts, blah, 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 blah. So already you know that for this particular project, what they used to build the model, the language model that they built, is 1 million Algerian tweets. if you then go down the article, you usually find a section where they discuss the training data. You are interested in this, the training data. You're also interested in what they came up with, the language modeling, right? So you will see that I've provided access to this form. Okay, so you come to this form and there's a coding manual, so it also gives you guidance on how to provide the responses that that are needed, right? So you provide your name and your student number so that we know that you made the submission. Then identify the paper you are providing information on here. What you do is you go to, when you first get the paper, you just come here. I like Harvard, what's it called now? The Harvard citation. I like it. So you copy it and you paste it. Obviously, you won't paste because this is my back end of the form. So, but you copy it and you paste it here, right? And then it has an abbreviated form. The abbreviated form will usually be the name of the first author. So this Abdul or whatever, 2021. That's all you need. So we'll be able to tie that to that. So you put it here, and then where are the authors? Okay, come on. Where are the authors based? You would see that where they are based. This one works with Oracle. This one works with, I don't know, I think this is Finland, this is Germany, this is Germany, right? So they are not in Africa, right? I think if this DZ is, whatever. Anyway, they are not in Africa. So you will indicate if they are if they are in Africa or a developing country, then they are in Global South only. If they are not, no, none of them is in Africa or a developing country, then it's Global North. If it's mixed, then it's mixed, right? Institutional stewardship. In this case, it is mixed because some of them are working in one of them works with Oracle, the other ones are in universities, so it's mixed. And then what did they create? Let me see if we're following. Can someone quickly answer what did they create in this their paper? What did they create? We are going to be here until I get an answer. So I'm just going to mute myself and we wait until someone provides an answer.
Prof, I can give it a try. I was just following a bit, but isn't something to do with the languages that one has to, and the articles that we're going to try and extract. I might be wrong.
Okay, thank you, Madam. What you will see is they said here, they created the first Algerian language model, right? And they even have a name for it. So you come here and you say you tick model because that's what they created. Then languages that are covered, they just said they dealt with the Algerian language, right? And so you say single because they specified a single language. And then you can indicate the language here. I think they would mention the language in the article. If you look at it, you will see they said keywords in the Algerian spoken dialect. So you indicate here that it's one language and you indicate that it's the Algerian um, spoken dialect. It's focused on one country because it's focused on Algeria, right? So you indicate that as well. And then the source of the data, you will then indicate the primary source of data. In this, it's one source. It's tweets. They said they said since there is no available text data set for the Algerian dialect, we collected 1.2 million tweets using Twitter API, right? So it's tweets, that's the source of the data that they used. So you will indicate, you see here where it says public archives, news media, social media. You choose social media because it's tweets, right? Jurisdiction of data origin, it's not really stated because we don't know where the people tweeting are coming from. So you can say specific countries of data origin, you can say not you can say not applicable because you would have chosen not stated. The temporal scope, what kind of materials are they? These are really contemporary materials, right? Because these are just tweets that people are tweeting at the moment. It's not something that is, ancient, is not an ancient document or, a historical document. It's not mixed. These are contemporary materials. So you choose contemporary. The tweets, what is the copyright status of the tweets? Is it public domain? Is it copyright protected? Is it mixed? Is it unclear? So this then calls to question your knowledge of copyright, which you will get um, as we go along in the program. But even listening to the video resources that I shared already as your crash course, you'll be able to know that copyright status of the source materials, you should be able to say it's unclear because nobody knows whether the individual tweets were copyright protected or not. And in any event, this is from Twitter API. Twitter API is really essentially that before it doesn't, Twitter doesn't do it again since they became X. Even before they became X, they used to give computer science and just scientific researchers, they used to give them access to their back end for research purposes to conduct research based on the data that they will get from tweets that people tweeted. They used to give the researchers free access to that just for research purposes, but they stopped now and they're asking for researchers to pay. So if your university has money, they usually pay for them to access those materials. But anyway, if any of the source materials is copyright protected, so assuming, for example, that instead of tweets, these people got their data from newspapers written in Algerian language, you know that this is newspaper, so it will be a literary work. So you choose literary work and you would have chosen copyright protected here, right? And then you now say, was permission provided to use the copyright work? Because they have API access in the case of this particular article, that means um, there was an open license. Legal basis for use is a license, or I think that this particular question needs a separate response where permission was granted, not necessarily an open license, but there was permission granted. I will make that correction to the form before by the time you access this form, I should have that option because that's the option that makes sense for this particular material, so that you can then say, yes, there was consent, that was a legal basis for use. And then you can say no here because they are not relying on any exceptions. They are just relying on the fact that they were given access to Twitter API. And then here, the cross-border assumption, whether it cuts across, other countries, you can say unclear. Now, if you look at this paper, you would be able to, okay. It asks you whether there's a explicit discussion of IP or IP analysis. Sometimes you find, even though most of the time you don't, because these are not lawyers, some of the NLP or AI projects that I have been involved in, I usually write the IP analysis section of those papers. And so and that's part of the work that I'm doing to encourage more discussion in these AI related papers, or papers that are discussing, AI research or NLP research, to say, these papers should also devote some time to engaging with IP issues, and especially copyright issues, to say this is how we dealt with copyright issues, in this project or in this paper. But in this paper, you will see that they did not discuss IP. If we even do, if we even do a control find where we are looking at license, there's nothing like that. If we look for copyright, no copyright discussion. If we look for intellectual property, no such discussion. So you can safely come here and say no explicit IP analysis. Licensing clarity, it's explicit in the sense that, or maybe it's absent because we don't know. We have to assume that maybe they got license. I should maybe add something about assumption here. But anyway, for the source materials, did the copyright owners use any right reservation mechanisms? Quickly, what are right reservation mechanisms? Right reservation mechanisms are essentially mechanisms that people who own copyright in a given material use to reserve their rights. So if you look at books, movies, for example, you will see that copyright symbol, the C in a circle, and then the person's name, and then sometimes you see that C in a circle and it says all rights reserved. So that's really a right reservation mechanism, because you are really saying, I am reserving my rights in this as a copyright owner of this material. So if you find that the source material that the people used as their data to create whatever they created, in this case they created a language model. If the source material was, say, a newspaper or a website, and that website has the copyright symbol, then obviously you're going to say yes, there was right reservation mechanism was expressed. And then you now say the specific one. Was it that they said all rights reserved? Did they say it in their terms of use or terms of service? Did they use technical means to, like, where you want to copy the content or where you click on the content to use it? They have stated that they are using this robots.txt file. You will see it. If it's not there on the website or on the material, then you just know that that's not what was used in this case. Now, in the project output itself, this question is repeated. What did the project create? We've already identified that they created a model. And then how is the output documented or fixed? You have to consult the article and find out where did they keep what they built, where did they keep it. Let's see if we can quickly find it. You see here, it says the final model created using PyTorch has been uploaded on the Transformers Hub to facilitate its use. Right, so they put it on this Transformers Hub. So you come here and you say, you click order because it's not in the options, right? So you can put order and then it will require you to write exactly where. So you say Transformers Hub. Ownership of the or stewardship of the resource that they've built. Who owns the resource that they've built? The researchers are claiming copyright in their material, so it's individual. Where did they host it? Isn't this question okay? How is it documented? I think it's a model card, and then here is where you say the Transformer Hub. Is there funding provided for the project? You will check. Usually they put the funding statement either at the end, which is not here, or they put it at the beginning. There's no funding stated here. This work was conducted during the time the author was employed by Geotrend, whoever that is. But to make assurance doubly sure, you go type funding, nothing. Type support, nothing. So funding source is not non-stated. They said they are making the material, the model that they've built, they are making it open for anybody to use. So it's open reuse. I'm relying on this statement in the abstract, even where they said our model is publicly available to the community. So it's open reuse, right? And the rest of the form, if you look at the coding manual, you would also get more information about what each question on the form is asking you and how to respond to it. Does anyone have questions? Okay, none. I've already indicated the scores for each assessment task on the assessment task sheet itself. Yes, Kuliwe. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Prof. So my question is, of the articles that you've given us, I'm sorry if you did say this at the beginning and I missed it. Do we only just pick one article, or we can do for all of them, given the time?
You have to do for all of them. So if you get 15, then you do this thing you complete this form 15 times.
No problem. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm supposed to mention guidelines on authorship, IP, and university policy regarding public access to thesis. No, this is not for this module. But anyway, there's the plagiarism policy, which I have put on ClickUp so that you see what is considered plagiarism. In the postgraduate program, we don't give first warning and second warning and all those things that we do in the undergraduate program when there's suspected plagiarism. If there's suspected plagiarism in your work, it will go to I will have to report it to legal services, and you will now have a conversation with them. I think that the way the assignments and the assessments are structured in the two modules, there's really a lot of room for you to engage yourself practically and get the work done. It's not really something that should require you um, to dabble into plagiarism. Please don't, so that we can have a smooth ride in each of the modules. There are reflective tasks for each of these practical tasks, just to get a sense of why are you choosing. If you are saying this is a literary work, why are you saying it's a literary work? You need to be able to say, to me that I said this is a literary work because they got this thing from novels, they got it from news media, and those fall under literary works protected under copyright law, then I know that, okay, you got the reasoning right. Or I'm saying this is a cinematograph film because they got it from a movie or they got it from a YouTube video, that type of thing. So there's always room for you to justify, your responses, and we keep it moving. I think when we meet next week, when we have when we start our in-person classes, then you will all see each other face to face, and you can choose someone to serve as your class rep. It's really someone that I can quickly reach and give you information about anything that comes up. It's also somebody that you can reach maybe if you have a lot of questions, or all of you have the same question, then maybe that person can be the one to email me and say the class has this question, and then I can answer it once and for all, and everybody gets the response, and we keep it moving. So we get to do that. um what I'm trialing this year for the two modules is that we will have I will record some of the preliminary parts of the topic that we're covering for each week. I will pre-record it, and I will put the link to the recording on ClickUp so that you will have access to it. And then we will come to class, and then we will engage in a discussion where now you've listened to the recording, and we're having conversation on that basis, engaging with materials that you would have found, some that I will find myself and recommend, and we just really dig deep into that topic. For the IGZ 802 module, we have guest lectures on patents, patent specification, patent enforcement. We have the same for designs, registration, enforcement, and so on. I will put the dates for those two guest lectures. I will put it on ClickUp so you have it. The first one is a block lecture. It will happen on the 11th of March. I will put the date on ClickUp, and it will start at 2:30 p.m. and end around 6 thereabout. So there will be breaks in between because there are two guest lecturers involved, and the first one will teach, and then there's maybe a 10 minutes or 15 minutes break, and then you come back and finish with the second guest lecturer. The second block lecture will also be from 2:30 to 6 thereabout, and that one will be sometime in April. I will also put the date on ClickUp. So those are the two for IGZ 802. Those are the two guest lectures that will happen, and that will start at 2:30 to 6 thereabout. Apart from those two guest lectures that I know for now, if there's anything that will change, or there will be additional lectures, or the different timing for the lectures, I will make sure to communicate to you well ahead of time. For the rest of the lectures for the semester, we will have our lectures on Wednesdays. We'll have our lectures on Wednesdays from 4 to 5 for IGZ 804, and 5 to 6 for IGZ 802. So if you are involved in IGZ 804, you can go home after 5 o'clock. And if you are involved in 802, you come at 5, leave at 6. If you're involved in both modules, then we are together 4 to 6. Again, if we need to adjust the day or the time, I will let you know well ahead of time, but that's the time we're working with at the moment. What else do I need to cover? There will be, okay, I forgot to add that to encourage you to attend lectures and actively participate, we will give up to 10 marks for attendance. Please, it's not just attendance and showing up and keeping quiet and making notes. It's 10 marks for active participation. So if you are leading the discussion for that day, you lead it and you lead it well. If you are not leading and you are part of the listening group, you listen and you contribute to the discussion. If you did not contribute, that's not active participation, and you will not score any mark. So I will not do the thing where, okay, you say to me, but Prof, at least I came. There are no prizes for coming to lectures. There are prizes or marks for active participation. So well ahead of time, we will indicate, okay, this person, you will choose topics that you will lead the discussion on, so that you prepare ahead of time and lead the discussion properly so that you get your marks. And then when you are not leading, you make sure that you are contributing, you're answering questions, you're sharing your thoughts, and then you get the benefits of the marks. I've put my consultation link to schedule a consultation with me if you need to discuss anything related to the module, not related to your life, related to the module. You are free to book a consult and we can have it online. You can come to my office. Those options are there. The other thing that I need to mention is I've talked about the assessment. On Wednesday, 25th of February, that's in 2 weeks' time, I'm expecting that everyone attends and participates in the launch of a project that I am leading. That project is on artificial intelligence and intellectual property in Africa. We're launching that project with a series of roundtable discussions, lightning talks, and so on and so forth. It's really a wonderful, it's going to be a wonderful event, even if I say so myself. We will start at 8:30 for arrivals, registrations, 8:30 in the morning, and then 9 o'clock, the actual full program starts. And the launch itself will last for 2 hours. So we close at 11, have tea, and then there are other project showcases and events that we'll be having in the remainder of the day. But if you want to leave after the project launch, you're welcome to do so. But if you stay back, you will also really benefit from that. But I expect everyone to come and to be part of the setup, part of the planning and all that. I'm going to send an email to all of you and copy my research assistant that is working with me, that you need to liaise with, so that everyone can really be part of the planning, part of the not really part of the planning. We are finished planning the thing, but part of setup and things for the day. At the end of and during the project launch, all the conversations that will be happening, I'm expecting everyone to come up with an event report between 500 and 1,000 words, summarizing the discussions that were discussed as part of the launch. That will add to your active participation, because what would have been our class lecture for the 25th of February will be happening in the project launch event. This is the link here to register. Please register today. So because the registration will be closing by tomorrow morning, so that I have the numbers of people that are coming, and so that I can make arrangements for catering, for tea breaks and lunch and things like that, and and all that. So feel free to also invite anyone you you think will benefit from it. But all of you need to be there, please. and we will take attendance there as well. And it will be, like I said, part of your attendance and active participation in lectures. And that is it. Next steps, I've talked about the immediate deliverables. Our next class meeting will happen next week, Wednesday on the 18th. Before that day, well before that day, I will share the recorded lecture link so that you can engage with it. I will also share the materials that we will engage with, I will discuss and all that. And like I said, IGZ804 4 to 5, 802 5 to 6. That's it from me. Are there any questions before we wrap it up and go and do something else? Any questions? Yes, Ibukun.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Please, the link that you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
where can we get it?
It's there on that on the slides that I've been using. That thing that is the way that it's blue, it's because it's hyperlinked. So if you click on it, it will show you the link.
Okay. All right.
Do you want me to also share it on ClickUp?
I don't mind. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I've shared it here. I'll also put it on ClickUp. Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Any questions, fears, thoughts, comments, anything? None. I'm so happy. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, if we can go ahead.
Yes, there are some comments. I came in really late, so I'm still trying to catch up on everything. But this program will be recorded. This first meeting, so you can go back and listen.
You're asking it as we are closing. If it's not recorded, what will you do?
Oh,
So if you have a question about will it be recorded, you ask it at the beginning. You say, please, before we start talking, is this still recorded? Not when the person has finished talking, then you come and say, is it recorded? Anyway, it's recorded.
okay, okay, because there's a lot
So
of things to
no
understand.
problem. I'm
Thank you
going to put, you're welcome. I'm going to download the recording and then put up the link to access the recording. I'll put it up latest by tomorrow morning. I'll also assign the references that you're supposed to work on for the first assessment. I'll also put that up latest tomorrow morning. So just look out for it. Even the link to this event I told you about, I will also put on ClickUp. There are some people that were on the wait list that have just gotten their that has just been admitted into the program. So it's also possible that will be slightly more in number than we are today. So the recording will also help those ones when they finally join to just even catch up with what we discussed today. If you have questions or after this, or you need help in any specific area, please feel free to email me and let me know so that we can address whatever issues there are on time. If after today you decide that, okay, I'm going to choose the one module and drop the other one and only take it next year, you are welcome to do so. You should quickly speak to student admin so that they can deregister you from the module that you want to take next year, and they will also put the money you've paid for the module to next year, so you don't lose the money, but you already have it. If you decide to dog it out, you can also do so. I forgot to mention another approach is to say, okay, let me not do dissertation anything in the first year and focus on the coursework. But if you are even if you decide that that's the pathway that you want to follow, please just take an inventory of your life in terms of deciding, can I really handle 2 modules plus whatever it is that is going on in your life? Say if you're working, say if you have young children, say if you're the primary caregiver for any family member or for children, all those things that could pose a distraction or that will make it really difficult and trying for you to get the best out of the module. Or if you're considering that after the LLM, maybe you want to go for a PhD, you actually need at least 65% overall GPA from the LLM program to be able to get into the PhD or LLD program. So anything that will make you not hit your targets, you try now to correct it. The sooner and quicker you take the decision, the better for you, the better for me as well. I don't want a situation where the I assign the references and then I find that there are people who are out of the module after being assigned, assessment tasks. It's just going to throw me off because, like I said, for the first assessment task, we are working with another master's program and they need our submissions to be able to do their work so that we don't stall another program from going on. And that's it from me, everyone. I will see you in person next week. The venue for the lecture, and I will also indicate on ClickUp as well. So I will see you next week. Bye.